You are no match for me, human. But I love a challenge.
We will be returning live to Observer Retro streams in a few moments. Coming up next, we will be catching up on Buried in Time, Part 2, in search of answers to why Agent 5 was arrested. On March 9th, don't miss our exclusive 4-part special of Tron 2.0, the sequel to Tron that Disney wants you to forget. Look out for parts 2 through 4 of Tron 2.0 on March 23rd, April 6th, and April 20th. And now, back to the game.
Quick, there's not much time to explain. They'll be here any second. Yes, I am you. I've come from the future. We've been framed.
The ongoing saga of Gage Blackwood took a frightening twist this morning when the agent of the Deep Time Unit broke house arrest to jump 9 years back in time. Fortunately, the illicit time jump was detected, and he was immediately apprehended by Agent 8 of the Temporal Protectorate. Although it's still not clear how and why Blackwood obtained the TSA jumpsuit, Temporal Security Agency officials did say that no distortion ripples have yet been detected, and that there is no reason whatsoever to believe that Blackwood has altered history in any way. Our Lisa Long has a report from TSA Administrative Headquarters.
The drama unfolded 3 weeks ago when Agent 2 of the Temporal Protectorate discovered 4 distortion ripples while conducting an unscheduled historical scan. As it turned out, the dates of the ripples exactly coincided with times to which Agent 5 had been sent for research purposes. The agent immediately contacted his supervisors, and on their orders, 3 agents were sent to apprehend Agent 5, who offered no resistance. Later that day, more evidence was found in Blackwood's locker, suggesting that he had disobeyed Temporal Security Agency directives for personal gain.
Cheese girl!
Well, I'm Arthur. You've probably figured out by now that I'm not real.
To anyone who may be listening, my name is Dr. Kenneth Farnstein. I've made this recording in the event that anything should happen to me. Arthur is not simply a program, he is a person, and I have sheltered him here from the circus our world would make of him. I'm afraid I may have corrupted him enough with my obsession for 20th century media. I ask that you understand, and if you can find it in yourself, to protect him for a while. He means a great deal to me.
Shaka, fool! 'Tis all for naught! It shall not claim this tour!
Gage, that's the one! That's the one who messed with my sculpture!
Welcome back, everyone. One moment for the usual tech check. Well, welcome back to part 2, and this time we'll be finishing the game. 2 time zones remain. So, and I can't wait. You're looking at the definitive edition of Buried in Time because this, like the original, has the features that the Windows version does not have, including this volume control, which is a big deal considering the Windows one has terrible audio in comparison. Well, now that we're here, and we have our buddy Arthur this time, let's take a look at the extra details of our place while we got the time. It definitely won't take as long as INN did.
Gage, one word. Curtains.
No, Faraz, they did not put the volume on it because I think because they had to change software to transition it over, because the Mac was made in Director, like Total Distortion, and the Windows one was rewritten in C++ or something. What can you do? It was Windows 95 back then.
These are wonderful toys. And when are you getting the Dream Continuum?
And don't forget that in-universe, Agent 5 became a VIP celebrity because his adventure of the first game were made into a movie, and so he has all sorts of stuff merchandised after it.
I don't mean to suggest you have an ego problem, but you have an action figure of yourself.
I feel like this head is kind of like a jab at the CGI face that was in the original version of the game. But we can't just zoom in on this guy, we can also look at these other ones. Ah, Poseidon. And interacting with these ones gives their signature catchphrases.
You are no match for me, human. But I love a challenge.
You beat those things? Gage, that isn't a threat. That's $1 million toy line.
Ares, with a much nicer color scheme.
He's tired of being abused by Wookiees. Charles Bronson is C-3PO in Death Droid.
And finally, Mercury with dual miniguns for arms.
I've been expecting you.
They actually added that line back into Pegasus Prime when they re-released it, because a lot of stuff from the original version of the remake got cut out. Who knows why? Now again, the controls are with the numpad this time, not the arrow keys. Some of this stuff is just visual flavor and nothing else. There's nothing wrong with that.
Kinda defeats the purpose of ping pong, doesn't it?
The two lines Arthur gives here are in the wrong order. They play in the right order on Windows, just at the drawbridge.
Ah, I see. You have books and none of them can be read. Gets me in the mood for some of that non-drinkable water.
Antique books for display purposes only. Please do not touch.
Gage, please tell me these books came with the apartment. So what do you consider light reading? The toaster manual?
I don't actually know what this is because it's too pixelated, but I'm guessing it's a reference to some kind of award Presto made. And down here, it seems Gage has a hobby of collecting timepieces.
Nice. The Tex Avery alarm clock. Hey Gage, got the time? All work and no play makes Gage a temporal neurotic. Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
A soap opera reference. While we're here, the first place we're gonna go when we're finished here is we haven't finished exploring Amarax Station, and of course, in order to get there, we need one more of these things. I'm just gonna check one of these messages for no particular reason at all.
You have 3 messages.
Hey Gage, how you doing? Listen, Oh shoot, it's your day off. You're probably in Tahiti, as usual. Well, anyway, I was wondering if I could borrow your Environ system. The record button's busted on mine, and I haven't had a chance to get it fixed. And hey, you do me this one favor, I might be willing to forget our bet. Remember? Grav ball last week? Thought you'd get away with it, huh? Not this time, pal. I beat you fair and square. So call me. I'm at home. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, now that's nice. Birthday present?
Well, it did say in the files Biochip that our interests include abstract art, so consistent and nothing else. I'm gonna save the Environ system for our final trip back here, because something... well... keep it a surprise, I'll just say that.
Look, Gage, if you look real close, you can see Elvis diving.
Only thing that puzzles me is, where's the bedroom? Does he just sleep in this living area? Oh, I actually missed an animation behind the bar. These things.
Has that bird thing ever fooled anyone? Did you win that by flicking the dime in the dish?
I once saw a 3D animatic of these things in a video called The Mind's Eye. magazines here. I can't read this because, again, it's pixelated, but looks like something to do with time. Virtual artist with a cheese girl ad, of course. Aw, how cute! He's got a packaged minifig of Poseidon in here, with the original game's box cover, no less. Even licensed by Bandai. Bandai was actually on board with Presto when they ported the Pegasus Prime to the Apple Pippin of all things. But then there's this thing.
One question, Gage. Why?
I mean, who wouldn't want a spinning tornado on their coffee table? Well, that's everything for now, so... Alt-J, work. And...
Man, the station looks like hell. Most of the habitat modules have been sheared off. The lab there also, down below. I'm just hanging by a thread. Amazing that I survived that hit. I guess I'm just thick-skulled. It's funny. I used to feel that station like a body. From inside, you don't get a picture of the damage. You just feel like limbs have been cut off. You try to twitch a finger and you get no response. It's kind of strange to see it like this.
Of course, since we could only jump to the exact point before we found Arthur, we're still going to hear the original version's lines, which brings me to something fun we can do.
Ooh, scary.
Alright. The passageway has been destroyed, so the only way we're going to get to the biomass processing room is through the iceteroid. We're going to have to hurry, though.
Oops.
This is pathetic. What am I going to do next? Hold a flashlight under my face?
He's reacting to his original self's voice.
This door used to lead to a shortcut between the habitat wing and the science wing. Now, I'm sure it's just a scenic view.
Wonder what happens if you go through it. And you're lost in space again. Sandra Bullock, is that you? But the other thing, while we're here, we can learn a bit more about the station.
Ooh, scary.
And what it was like when Arthur was here with Dr. Farnstein.
Not much to tell, really. Most of the modules were designed to shear off at the connection tube rather than get breached by a collision. That way, they hopefully wouldn't depressurize, and at least the occupants would have a chance of being rescued. I'd imagine the crew berths are in orbit somewhere among the ice chunks by now. This is pathetic. What am I going to do next? Hold a flashlight under my face? You know, it's pretty interesting how this station is constructed. In my time, we still have to worry about the cost of lifting mass out of a gravity well. What do you guys have, like matter transmission or something, right? Anyway, the walls of these connection hallways are basically lightweight Coramid fiber bags, honeycombed with little cells, kind of like bubble pack. They're shipped up folded, then pressurized with an expanding closed-cell foam, which makes them rigid and acts as a self-sealant in case of things like micrometeorite punctures. With Coramid mesh, they're resilient enough to handle some of the bigger, slower objects, but, well, as you can see for yourself, what happens when it meets Lucifer's hammer.
Lucifer's hammer. I like that line. So basically, this space station is one big bubble envelope. I think NASA would like that kind of technology.
This used to be the kitchen and the gravity gym. Part of it's still intact, but this door looks dead.
Pressure variance too great. Door may not be opened until pressure is equalized.
Hey, I thought you were anxious to find your distortion ripple. You've already been through here, and the only thing this way is me. And frankly, meeting myself might not be that healthy. You know how they say the things you hate most in others are the things you hate in yourself? Well, this guy's beginning to get on my nerves.
That always seemed to work in Scooby-Doo.
This is the station's power source. All those big Tylenols store the charge collected by the solar sails and distribute them to various parts of the station. I guess I'm looking at my end here. When that blue glow faded, so will I. Or at least one of me. God,
So,
I feel like
guess
I
I haven't
saved
gotten rid of
you.
you after all. You just
Whoops.
pop up in different spots, like whatever pops up in different spots. So, corrupting my work not enough? Back to finish the job? What? That's me? That's not me.
Earlier, my Arthur, he said, God, I feel like a saved game. Now, one thing I want to note about the Journeyman games is that when you go to a time zone and you pick up an item, if you return to that same time zone, that item you collected will be gone. On a causality basis, that shouldn't happen, but honestly, I just chalk it up to a gameplay convenience. It's kind of like how in the original version of Myst, where you could hold only the red or blue page one at a time, and if you tried to grab the other one, the first one would go back to where it started. See, like, when I first came to this room in the earlier stream, this metal bar was stuck in this door as soon as it closed, and I had to pull it out so it would seal, but now it's not there anymore. So, again, I just think I'd say don't think about it too hard, it's just gameplay reasons.
And I thought I was being rescued. I'm breathing my last breaths here, and I get visited by Guido, the space vandal. Come all this way to tamper with my sculptures. What are you, an art critic? Oh, shut up. God, I never knew I whined like that. So, what do? Travel around space looking for derelict crafts you can terrorize the survivors by redecorating while they're helpless? What'd you do? Bring a spray can too? Gage, be honest with me. Does my voice really sound that dorky?
I'm deliberately going off track here because I want to show off what's happening. Because where we need to go is actually in the opposite direction.
Look, if you're here to rescue me, fine. Just get on with it. If you're gonna add insult to injury by messing with my work, I can do without it, okay? Just leave me here to die in peace with my artwork.
I guess now we know. Now he knows how it feels when I hear my voice reviewing these VODs.
personnel advised to clear docking bay.
Okay, this is the docking bay. The hex pads, as Mom keeps reminding us, are localized gravity repulsors that allow us to move cargo around the hold. I'm sure you had fun in here the first time, but this is really not the time to play Twister.
One thing I didn't show off is what's on the left side of this map.
Where are you going, anyway?
Nothing but dead ends. I would like to know what's up there, but the game won't let us go that way.
You seem different, somehow. Unlike before, your patterns, you're more curious, like you don't really know what you're doing here, do you? You're not the same intruder. So, why are you here? Are you looking for something? Me? I don't know why I feel this, but I guess I have an instinct about you. My other guest didn't feel right. You're different somehow. Like I should trust you.
Have you been listening to me or what? I'm trying to help you out here. If we go into that room, I'm gonna end up meeting myself, and I don't know how I'll take it. The other me. Oh, you know what I mean. At the least, it'll end up affecting one of my sculptures, and then you'll have more than a ripple on your hands. So, for your own good, if you don't jump us out of here, I will.
I mean, he's got a good point. This is definitely not something the TSA would want us to do. Because, I mean, he's got a point. I mean, if a sculpture was affected, then yeah, it probably would lead to a distortion wave. Either that would be like an infinite cycle of infinite Arthurs copying onto biochips over and over again, like in the Flash game, the Freewheel cycle. And there you have it. Arthur just switched to the Jump Biochip by himself and slammed the recall button. So we never get to go through that door again.
Well, somewhere under all that ceiling fun was the door to, well, what used to be the hydroponics module. Nothing special, just your garden variety greenhouse. Garden variety... Sorry. The doc used to spend a lot of time in here, gardening. It's all automated, of course, so I'm not sure why he bothered, especially the way he set up all kinds of lockout routines to keep me out. I got on his nerves, he said. I have no idea what he meant, but I got the picture anyway that he wanted to be alone. Come on, let's move on. All right. The passageway has been destroyed, so the only way we're going to get to the biomass processing room is through the asteroid. We're going to have to hurry, though, because it's all in vacuum and your oxygen reserve isn't going to get you very far. We'll have to take the atmosphere mining lift.
Ooh, scary.
Okay, the passageway is destroyed, so the only way to get to the sculptures is going to be to go through the asteroid. The airlock lift through this door will take us there.
Notice this label here. It says, remove charge before attempting pressure lock override unsealing.
Pressure variance too great. Door may not be opened until pressure is equalized.
The airlock on the other side must still be pressurized. That's why this door won't open. I can put out an audio override code to bypass the safety interlocks, but the rest will be up to you. Here goes.
Emergency door release initiated. Please stand by.
Well, at least we didn't have to blow the whole door off this time. And now we have an explosive charge, which, as Orion, I agree with Orion, this is the crudest model in the game. It's just a simple cylinder primitive with 8 squares attached to it. I mean, I could make something like this in Blender in a couple of seconds. A small grav pad on the back side of this explosives charge, which allows it to stick to any surface. There were comments here in the Windows version, but not here.
I know, it looks pretty scary, but don't worry. There's no gravity, remember? So as long as you hold on to something, you won't fall off. These lifts weren't used too often. The atmosphere mining is all automated, so they're really only for maintenance. Doc used to come up here every once in a while, because it's really quite beautiful inside the asteroid, but it's such a pain to suit up, I suppose.
Hey Blitter, you know what I want? A Journeyman crossover with another IP. Crossover with another... You know what I want? Oh, wow, look at this.
How do you like the feeling of thousands of tons of ice balanced above your head while there's nothing beneath your feet? Getting anxious? Phobias creeping in? High anxiety? No? Oh well. Those remotes are what we call nibblers. They crawl along the inside walls, and an arc of heated molecular filament rotates back and forth like an ice cream scoop and carves out the asteroid. The ice is shattered by the vibration of the filament, and the small chunks are drawn into the processor by the gravitational pull of the mass driver rings. Doc wanted to make this place self-sufficient, so he set all this up when he refurbished the station. It's a simple idea, really. You capture a large asteroid composed mainly of water ice, bore through the center, and set up a mining rig on a cable track. The ice is mined away from the inside out and melted at the junctions at either end and pumped down to the atmosphere plant on the station proper. There, some of it's broken down into oxygen for breathable air and hydrogen for the attitude jets and backup generator. This is mostly why Doc decided to move the station into orbit near Saturn's rings. Here, there is an unlimited supply of asteroids, and considering the station's only supporting a crew of 1, Doc would only need to replace it once every decade or so.
I know Arthur is kind of... his dialogue is a little bit dry, but you gotta understand, as the recap showed, Dr. Kenneth Farnstein kept him isolated here because he was afraid what Earth would think of him.
Those rings create a shallow gravitational field which acts as a mass driver, kind of a gravitational conveyor belt. That's just a plug-in controller that we use to test the mining program. It runs a simple mining cycle on one of the remotes.
I prefer this timed system for oxygen, where because in the Windows version, it depleted like every 3 moves. pretty efficient system. Harvesting oxygen from space ice. I like that. Well, we got the ice, so now we gotta extract the O2. Now we have more oxygen, and
this generates the gravitational field for the mass driver rings. A lot of ice shavings get caught in the inversion coils and melt, so there's a water trap built in. That's the purge valve on the right. There's also an oxygen reserve connection on the left in case a maintenance job takes too long or something.
I wanted to get some marathon footage up in here, but I couldn't find enough time to locate the part of that game. As Gianni once said, smell that air. Couldn't you just drink it like booze?
Well, normally those would be filled with tanks for water, oxygen, or hydrogen from the processor. Looks like there's only one canister left. The rest must have been in hydroponics or in the lab.
Well, if it's empty, we need to fill it. Now we have something to drink from. And just in case... Letter. If someone can get Journeyman mixed with the Avengers MCU, I would totally read that. I would totally read that. Nothing wrong with fan fiction. So now we're on the science wing, the part of the station we couldn't get to from the other way.
This looks like it's in worse shape than the habitat wing, but really it's just the corridor that got hit hard. The lab was on the center section, though. It was sheared off completely, and had my studio, and Doc was in the lab when the shower hit. I don't think it got hit directly, though. Just the section of the corridor it was attached to collapsed, and it tumbled away.
Oh man, that's sad. Wow.
So beautiful and tempestuous. I spent a lifetime staring down at that view, pulling back to see the intricate weavings of the storms, focusing in so close I could see the facets of ammonia crystals floating 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 in helium or hydrogen anyway. It's been an inspiration for a lot of my work. I'm gonna miss it.
I have a recording from the Windows version of a much better take of that line.
So beautiful and tempestuous. I spent a lifetime staring down at that view, pulling back to see the intricate weavings of the storms, focusing in so close I could see the facets of ammonia crystals floating like stars in a sea of helium and hydrogen. It's been the inspiration for a lot of my work. I'm gonna miss it.
Right, back to business.
Uh-oh, Gage. Sorry. I should have realized. This room is normally kept depressurized. We're gonna run out of oxygen before we get done in here. We're gonna need to repressurize this room.
In Windows, that line was isolated to a help message. Luckily, another of those atmosphere control panels is right here. I didn't even know this on my first playthrough.
Well, you already know what this does.
Oh, and this one still says door seal obstructed. You know what?
Cannot pressurize. Foreign object obstructing habitat wing door seal.
I suppose that's to keep you from screwing up, even though you could do it the other way around from there. Actually, wait. Good thing I saved, because I just realized...
The other guy who was in here went around and interacted with all the sculptures like he was looking for the right one. Funny. He really seemed to know what he was doing. The one he eventually
I forgot.
Uh-oh. Sorry. I realized. This room is normally kept depressurized. We're gonna run out of oxygen before we get done in here. We're gonna need to repressurize this room. The other guy who was in here went around and interacted with all the sculptures like he was looking for the right one. Funny, he really seemed to know what he was doing. The one he eventually settled on is at Programming Station C.
So yeah, if your oxygen supply hits 0, or if you go through there before pressurizing it, this is what happens, just like in the Mars maze.
The other guy who was in here went around and interacted with all the sculptures like he was looking for the right one. Funny, he really seemed to know what he was doing. The one he eventually settled on is at Programming Station C.
So this is where the rogue agent went, and why Arthur was so riled up about it.
You can call this the maternity ward. This is where I was born. The huge womb in the center is where the neurosynaptic polymer gel that makes up my brain mass is grown. Ringing it are the programming stations. Kinda homey, isn't it?
Yeah, in a weird way. Even though there's no spinning gravity, the sides of this module have gravity, so we're walking on the walls. Station C is where it is, but I want to look around a little more. So A and B, that one's empty. This one's not interactive. So this stuff is what Arthur's core is made of, and what led to the production of biochips in the future.
These stations are where the neurosynaptic polymer gel is programmed, sort of where my DNA is coded, I suppose. Each new function is mapped independently into a glob of gel like this by stimulating synaptic pathways with the resonance probes. Each program mass is then introduced to the parent nexus where it's assimilated and becomes part of the wetware, a little like an RNA injection. Dr. Farnstein had set up a studio in the research lab where I could interface with a painting window. It was kind of important to me, things that I couldn't figure out, I just put to canvas. After the accident, I had a lot of things I wanted to work out, and the studio was just gone. I guess one day I sort of hit on the idea of using all of this raw material here. It gave me a lot of flexibility. It's a medium I'm familiar with. My own gray matter. Or green matter, I suppose. I guess I like the irony, too. The artist cannibalizing himself for his art.
That's a creepy metaphor. I think O'Reilly mentioned that an actual artist did that kind of thing in the 19th century or something. Said this guy collected limbs from the morgue as part of his inspiration. And so basically, when Dr. Farnstein was still alive and the module was still attached, Arthur could just paint whatever he wanted with I guess a robot arm on a canvas, and that's what Farnstein tried to sell on Earth, but nobody took him seriously. And when the module was detached in the accident, Arthur just started programming these things instead, which is in a way making stuff out of his own brain mass, sort of. Physics be damned. I know there's that review on the INN that's like 4 pages long, but art is art.
Well, this is the one. If you touch it, you can see what it's supposed to do. Whatever he did to it only shows up in reaction to a specific harmonic resonance. Why go to all this trouble?
So if we look down here, there's actually some controls below this station, but this is the only one we can actually interact with.
The harmonic resonance control is used to introduce specific three-dimensional resonance waves into the biomass. Where the waves converge, the gel is stimulated into opening new patterns of pathways. Without inserting the probes, I suppose the sculpture would just be flooded by the resonance field. There's a chance that it might trigger an embedded response.
So, with this, we can choose what frequency to create. And if we click on the left side of the dial, it'll turn counterclockwise, and on the right side, clockwise. So I'm going to start from lowest frequency to highest. So this is 3.5 hertz. Negative. .11 kilohertz. Positive, but I want to hear the others first. .74 megahertz. Undefined. 5.6 terahertz. .14 terahertz. Well, that's the highest, so... Let's keep this number in mind. 11 kilohertz. It might be important. There's our evidence.
Okay, well, I guess that does it. You know, for so long I dreamed of getting out of here. But now that I've gotten my wish, it's kind of strange to think that I'll never be able to come back. I'm gonna miss this place.
Hold me, Gage.
Aww. Well, since this message came up, we're done here, so... Now to the one time zone we haven't been to yet. The studio will be vacant. This is it, boys. We are actually in well...
So is this real? Are we really in Leonardo's studio?
Audio cut right there. I think out of all the time zones, I'd say this one's my favorite, although it's not as big as the others. Oh, how convenient. Hey, look who it is. Looks like Leonardo dropped his canvases.
Wow. Old Moro must have been pretty impressed by Leonardo's letter of introduction to fund this. This is amazing. hope this wasn't to try out his parachute designs.
Yeah, there's a death here. Having taken leave of his senses, Agent 5 walked straight into a hole in the floor of Leonardo da Vinci's 20-meter-high painting tower. Unfortunately, his jumpsuit wasn't a Samsonite. The next of kin had been notified. I think this is a joke saying that we're not a high-end suitcase. Because Samsonite is actually a brand of luggage.
This is Leonardo's portrait of a musician. This is supposed to be a friend of his, Atlante Migliorotti, whom he traveled to Milan with, but historians were never sure. I suppose if we waited until morning we could find out for certain, but, well, I guess we could save that for the next trip. I wonder if Leonardo realizes he'll never finish this piece. If records are correct, he's been working on it for, what are we in, 1488? About 3 years now. Another 2 to go before he gives up on it for some reason. I wonder why. They have some falling out? You know, we could jump a couple of years forward and... Okay, sorry. Wrong time.
Another footprint. I've seen that before. Three, 5, 3. 9, 2, 2, 7. I wonder if that means anything. I mean, since we've already established that whoever this guy is wearing a TSA jumpsuit, so maybe that's an agent's ID number. I could look it up in the files Biochip, but if you do, it would be as much of a spoiler as the logo for Sinclair Laboratories and Pegasus Prime is. So I'm just going to wait on that. What I am going to show is that I realized I missed a page about the jumpsuit in the files Biochip. At the very bottom, it says it has a temporal pocket. Items collected by an agent are stored in this pocket, which is actually a null-space void. When placed in the void, objects take up no space and are not a burden to the agent. So basically, we have a, as de Landau once said about Space Quest, we have a TARDIS in our suit. Oh, and speaking of, I also have a picture of what the whole jumpsuit looks like. Now obviously we need to get down to the ground, but from the looks of things, that shaft is probably an elevator shaft, so this looks like the controls for it.
Da Vinci really was a master of contraptions. It looks like when the Duke of Milan allowed him to build this place, he got a chance to field test a lot of his ideas.
Now, these labels are written in Latin, but luckily, we have something to fix that. Lock, release, up, down. Now this is where I said that volume control really comes in handy, because if anyone's watched O'Ryland's Let's Play of this game, he mentions that the audio outside is so loud it's to the tune of 872 crickets. But with this volume control, that's not a problem.
Wow. Amazing. With all the different things Da Vinci had his hands in, he still had time to keep this place looking pretty.
It's just so relaxing to be able to actually hear everything normally. As an architecture lover, I approve of this place.
Ludovico Sforza, Il Moro, the current Duke of Bari, is actually a usurper. His young nephew, Gian Galeazzo, is the rightful heir, but hey, what are uncles for?
Let me handle things till you grow up, kid.
Pity he never got the chance. No big surprise that the kid died mysteriously before assuming the head of the family. The court of Milan was renowned for its pageantry, art, and music. Leonardo's previous patron, Lorenzo di Medici, may have sent him here knowing that the gesture would placate his powerful and ambitious neighbor. Though why Da Vinci made the move has always been a mystery. All this, of course, would seem to be a strong motivation.
So now we can see a lot of contraptions that were in Leonardo's sketches.
He's invented the table saw? Now this is stretching my suspension of disbelief. Hand crank to get the flywheel up to speed, and in minutes you have an attractive new den.
This line is actually different in Windows.
A drill press? I'm starting to think Da Vinci was working for Makita. That's an interesting gear assembly. It's geared pretty low. I wonder what it's for.
No bots allowed. Hold on a second. One moment, please.
That hoist design looks like the one that Leonardo sketched up for the casting of the horse sculpture he was planning, but never got around to. Well, at least he got use out of the hoist.
I think somewhere around here there's meant to be a zoom-in point for this particular sketch. I know because Ryland showed it, but I don't know where it is. Whoops! Microphone was flipped up. There it is. Alright, so what do we got here?
Typical. You can't read the instructions, just like those Japanese model kits.
Actually, we can. Wheel assembly, gear assembly with pedals, place all parts on jig, insert pegs, and secure. Now, if you if you didn't have the hammer from Chateau Gaillard, you'd have to jump all the way back to the blacksmith and get it. And now we can just check the whole thing in our null time pocket.
Wow, he actually tried to make the tank. Looks like he succeeded. I'd like to see the 6 burly guys who are going to make this thing move at any kind of speed, though. The guys inside would be well protected, but when you attack someone in a UFO, you can pretty much kiss the element of surprise goodbye.
I know Arthur has one comment about this dome, but it's not triggering where it does in Windows. So all this game design talk in the chat, I would say one word: go indie. Huh, looks like they had multiple people painting the same model in this place.
Looks like school's in. Always good to keep a bunch of students and apprentices handy to boost your standing and do all the grunt work for you. Like most Renaissance artists, Da Vinci believed that designing and giving orders were gentleman's work, and actually executing the piece was work for servants. That's why he rarely finished anything. Okay, a little professional jealousy.
Oh no, dueling artists.
Still under construction. With the current war against the Venetian Republic, money must have been coming in sporadically.
Why the path through here goes in a zigzag, I have no idea. Oh, there's a dog outside somewhere.
Well, there's no question what kept Da Vinci the busiest. With his patron waging war against the Venetians, there must have been a lot of pressure on him to give the Duke a strategic advantage.
It's amazing that we can actually hear Arthur in this noise now.
Look, a primitive harvester.
A harvester of human lives.
Sorry, too many episodes of Tales from the Crypt. Still, those chopped hay bales are making me a little queasy.
Like he just said, Arthur was doing an impression of the host of Tales of the Crypt, which was a 80s TV show, I think.
I quote Da Vinci, translated from the original Latin, "Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down." Clever. Now, if they were inflatable, then you'd have something. Oh, you don't want to go over there. That's where Presto put all the cheap, low-res models. Look, if they let us go everywhere, they never would have finished the game.
Access denied. This section was neither modeled nor rendered. Wow, giant caltrops, which I think were designed to poke horses in the hooves.
I've seen this in Da Vinci's sketchbooks. It's cleverly designed to hit the operator in the head with a barrage of rock. That's a large mortar.
I think here is the only other place you can die.
Da Vinci designed a series of these multi-barreled guns, predating the invention of the Gatling gun by close to 400 years. Yes. An interesting perspective, but I'm getting a little nervous, okay?
Can we keep the chat civil, please? Hello, Mr. Da Vinci. This is your midnight wake-up call. Oops. Holy moly. Well, the other tower is right there, so...
Yep, straddling this baby's gotta really make you feel like a man.
Now here's the puzzle. We have to finally adjust this ballista so it actually aims towards the tower. And the moon actually serves as a guide. Now that we have a line up to the tower, all we have to do is break out the siege cycle and put it to the test. that looks dangerous.
Hope we didn't forget anything.
Now there's two ways to get in here, as Blitter just said. If you didn't think to grab the balcony key, this is where the metal bar comes into play.
Hey, what was that flash of light? Hey, what was that flash of light? He's not in here. That flash of light must have been him jumping out when he saw you on the balcony. You must have startled him. Leonardo's private study. I'd imagine very few people have even seen this. Da Vinci's drum machine. Who'd have thought that Leonardo would have been the spiritual ancestor of the Pet Shop Boys? Actually, though, Da Vinci was also an accomplished musician and composer, and designed several musical instruments, such as the viola organista.
So that agent dropped something. And this time we can actually take it. Wow, look at this. I've seen illustrations of this kind of thing in books. The idea would be that a human would be strapped into this and use their own muscle power to move the wings.
More flying machines. Da Vinci began studying flight here in Milan, and it remained an obsession for him until the last years of his life. He actually made some remarkably keen observations on air resistance, the eddying motion of fluids, and the mechanics of the flight of birds. It's even been said that he himself attempted to fly, but that's really just a legend.
Oh, what do we got here? This looks familiar. Whoa,
I think it's jammed. Whoever was up here before us wasn't particularly careful.
This I would log as evidence because this seems like something the TSA should fix, so it would at least cause a ripple. kind of hard to see, but it looks like anatomy sketches. I've seen those too. Looks like he slept in here too. In those old days, people would just use a bowl of water to wash their hands. Oh dear God! What the heck? Preserved organs. Jesus.
Preserves. Human heart. Looks like we're in Hannibal Lecter's pantry.
I ate his liver with a flying machine and a nice Chianti.
It's no wonder Leonardo was being so secretive. Human dissection was strictly forbidden by the church and might have gotten him arrested if anyone were to find out about it. Certainly the scandal wouldn't have put him in the Duke's favor. The elevator seems like it would have been a good idea for getting the cadavers up here on the quiet, though.
And believe it or not, we can actually take one of them with us. Well, if you remember INN, one of the artifacts that was sold is one of these notebooks.
Gage, these are Da Vinci's notebooks. Or 3 of them anyway.
But which one's the Codex Atlanticus?
Oh, that's nice. Serves you right for buying mail order. It'll translate every known language, but it can't recognize Latin written backwards? And you didn't even get a set of Ginsu knives.
It's amazing the developers even got this into the game in the first place. Oh, I forgot this little table in the corner.
Cool, but where are the action figures to go with them? Probably back at your place, huh, Gage? Sorry. Now, those aren't toys, so be careful.
Yeah, they probably would be fragile.
I recognize these sketches. This is the Codex Atlanticus. It's his most famous manuscript, covering some of his most prolific studies.
So maybe if the agent was using this lens filter, then maybe they were using some kind of invisible ink that only the filter can see. What the hell? No way. No freaking way. Somebody... Okay, now I'm kind of mad. Why on earth would you write something like this in one of Leonardo's notebooks? one way or another, I'm making sure that these changes are removed by the time we get that agent. There's only one place left to go. I haven't shown with this death off yet. Yeah, if you set the calendar to the wrong date, you end up in a spike pit instead. What else is new? Whoops. Ignore that, please. So around here are 4 different doors to different trials of the Lords of the Night. In the actual ritual there would be 9 trials because it's a 9-stepped upside down pyramid to the underworld, but I suppose they dumbed it back for gameplay's sake. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Only those who have conquered their demons are welcomed in the presence of the god of war. Realm of the war god, make an offering to pass. Be warned, guys, because the next room is very loud. Did I miss something? I think I might have missed something again. Yeah, I forgot you're supposed to grab this, too. Oh, I can just quick save with Alt-S. That's good. Notice why I'm clicking the name? It's because the problem with Director is that the scroll buttons are way too quick. So the way this puzzle works is that there are these snake heads which act as locks.
Yikes. Better think this one through or we could end up skewered like a... oh, you know what I mean. Man, I gotta get the hang of this simile business.
One controls the door and the other controls those spears. So we have to block them in the open position using these skulls.
Those spears look easily sharp enough to tear through your suit, but I wouldn't worry about it.
Everybody limbo!
How was I supposed to know? Because it was so pixelated. You know, pixel hunting. The only ancient death trap I can buy, because we're in the time period these were actually made, so it's not what TV shows would call a durable death trap. So, the trick is that since the door stays open for a short time while the lock is open, then if we just go through, we might make it. So the left one controls the spears, so the other one controls the door. At least I think that's how it works. That's how you do it. And over here we can see another pulse soul who got skewered. I think if you didn't grab the other medallion, then another one will be hanging from this person's neck. Okay, I get it. If both door locks are held open, then both doors will be open. Give me a sec, I'm still trying to figure this out.
Tezcatlipoca was one of the most feared gods. His name means smoking mirror. They called him that because in addition to being a fierce warrior, He was also known for his pranks and illusions, kind of the Mayan Doug Henning. This chamber seems to be set up as a prayer room. There's an image of the god directly opposite his altar, but no signs of blood suggest that the altar is used in sacrifices, which means that it's probably used for more benign offerings. If I had a nose, I believe I would smell incense.
And we just click on this door to open it. Well, since this is directly across, I guess we'll do this one next.
Gage, relax. It's a door. You put your offering in this receptacle, the door closes, and it's taken by someone or something to be judged for its worthiness. I don't believe in magic or the powers of the gods, but it may be possible that there are acolytes living in alcoves within these walls, and all they do is collect the offerings and open the doors if they're good enough.
So basically he thinks there's a Wizard of Oz effect going on, that there's just people in the walls who collect the offerings and open the door. Those who wish to gain counsel with Tlaloc must cross the waters of disbelief on the stepping stones of faith. Realm of the Rain God, make an offering to pass. Well, we have water, so...
Who's the architect who built this bridge? This place is like the Winchester Mystery Pyramid.
I gotta look up what that is at some point. Oh boy.
Very clever, Grasshopper. This is a pretty elaborate contraption. The Maya were amazingly advanced, but I never would have imagined this level of mechanical engineering. From the sound of it, there's a water wheel down below that's driving this whole mechanism. That tells me that there must have been a particular season for these priesthood initiation trials. Part of the reason the rain god was so important to the Maya was that the Yucatan was susceptible to drought. If we'd arrived a few months later, there would have been little more than a trickle to drive these platforms.
It's easier than it looks. All you gotta do is time your clicks at the right moment. It's not like platforming in a Crash Bandicoot game. Although you can still fall off. So like the front ones don't swing that much, but the back two are more dangerous.
He's pretty. That would be Tlaloc, the rain god. The trials must be to test the worthiness of the supplicants to the priesthood. Once they make it past a trial, they're allowed in the presence of that god, so that they can pay homage. And then, once they've passed all of the trials and honored each of the gods, they're probably made a priest.
You have to wait for the video to loop once before you can move. I think something's up with the HUD in this section. I'm going to show the death here, if I can. Yep. In attempting to prove his worth to the rain god, Agent 5 fell 30 meters from a bridge of swinging platforms into the raging waterfall below, inadvertently appeasing the god of death. Oh, Zach, audio issues. bit more intuitive than those lame Sega CD interactive movie games. Like Gundam 0079. What the hell? How am I missing this first one? And the worst part is when I save, it puts me back to the beginning. I should probably reboot the game just to be safe. Director, you suck. Finally. Oh. Yeah, I think the program was just bugging out because it was running too long or something.
Nice door. Didn't I see Bob Vila make one of these on this old pyramid?
Those who will represent the god of wealth must turn their backs to worldly possessions and lower their heads in humility. Realm of the wealth god, make an offering to pass. Well, good thing we grabbed some of those gold coins. Buried in Time had a hilariously bad glitch where sometimes if you held out an item, its sprite would smear all over the screen until it eventually fill it up like a paint program. That only happened in Windows though.
Rope bridge. Very dangerous. You go first.
This one's easier. It's more of a mind trip than anything.
Isn't rope bridge an oxymoron?
Well, that doesn't look very safe.
Man, this place looks like something Wayne Newton would wear around his neck.
Well, great. It was a trap. We went towards a cavern with gold and we got locked in like the man who helped Ali Baba. And the only way out is to either recall or load a save game. See, this is a neat kind of puzzle where the obvious thing isn't the best choice. The text outside said that we need to turn our backs on wealth and lower our heads in humility. Well, maybe it means that literally, because if we turn around and look down, there's something underneath there. Good thing we grabbed that coil of rope in Milan. Well, that's rare, an inventory sprite that actually changes instead of just flipping the other way. Look at all this jade. At least there's no spooky animated mask.
You know, it's interesting. all of these gods are Toltec. It looks like they had more influence on Mayan religion here than anyone realized. That really lends a lot of credence to the theory that they were invaders, not just settlers.
Oh, that's right. Well, our future self was meant to come here and see how the Toltecs influenced the Mayans.
That's the wealth god, Tepi Yolotl. Hey, wow, nice work. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to carve stone? And all these guys had to work with were primitive stone tools and a spirograph.
I thought a spirograph was a machine people used to carve patterns into wood. Oh, right, I remember those. Oh, another anachronism.
This is the door to Mictlan, the Dead Land. The Maya called it that because it was said to be ruled over by Mictlan Tecutli, their god of death.
See, why are these timestamps inconsistent with each other? I've always wanted to know that. Replicated glass fragments. So this one's a little bit different. The first sacrifice is the final step to the holy vessel. The answer lies within. Complete the pyramid to pass. So the point of those trials was to get these pieces to fit into this shape here. Well, this looks imposing. No surprise, given the underworld.
The top of this bridge seems to be a sharpened obsidian blade. Talk about walking gingerly. If one leg slipped off, you'd be beside yourself. I said, beside yourself. Forget it.
Yeah, that's a grisly thought.
I would imagine that when a supplicant reached this room, there would be a sacrifice victim tied to the altar, and the priest would all be arranged in a circle around the perimeter of the chamber. The only exit from these caverns seems to be through that passage on the other side, so if you passed the trial, they would pivot the bridge around to let you across. If not, well, I guess you're on your own, buddy. That explains some of the skeletons we found, trying to find their way out.
My. Snakes, snakes, and more snakes. These guys were really obsessed. Hate to be the guy who had to carve all those. He must have been sick of them by the end.
Well, there's presumably the god of death, but we can't read the text because it's too far away. And another... more evidence. Synthetic blood, huh? So this is why we grabbed the heart, because the altar wants a sacrifice. And here it is, the ceremonial coffer, the last thing listed in the Louvre auction, which, according to INN, is supposed to be excavated in 2027, 2 years from now as of this stream. But the catch is, if we don't enter the right code, this happens. The sting of the poison needle piercing his hand told him he was wrong. That sounds like something Akinar would make in the Age of Haven. Now, if you remember from part 1, when I was examining all those inscriptions in the temple on the top of the pyramid, it actually had a clue into what the code is. The holy vessel, one of them said, the holy vessel contains the breath of Itsamna. To touch the holy vessel is to become a priest of the word of Itsamna. So...
Hey, that's an Environ Cartridge, isn't it? And it's loose. It hasn't been incorporated into the artifact like in the other time zones. You should take it. Maybe it'll provide us with some information. Oh, sorry. This one's on the house.
Yeah, that would have been a help message. But yeah, unlike all the other tamper artifacts, this is something we can actually take. So maybe the anachronism will be fixed here. So now, all we gotta do is head home and try to read this thing. Before, I just want to note one bit of continuity I find strange between this game, the first game, and Pegasus Prime. Well, two things really. The first is, notice how the sound is different in these transitions. Yes, we have a model of the maintenance key in our old apartment, but in Pegasus Prime we don't get the key. So, why do we have something that didn't actually occur if Pegasus Prime is supposed to be canon? I'm gonna take the lens filter off really quick, because we'll miss something if we keep it on. An unlabeled Environ Cartridge. Well, now we know what the Geno Andrews single is, so let's play that one first. First up, let's relax with a little music.
I'm at it right now. I'm at rehearsal. You know the routine. Name, number. I'll get back to you. Thanks.
Hi, it's me. I know it's been a while, but I found some things that belong to you. If you like, you can stop by and pick them up sometime. I'll be home this evening. It's just some records and tapes and some pictures, but, you know, I thought you might like to have them. Okay, maybe I'll see you.
Silent, never knowing where you were going or where you'd been. I pray somehow you hear these vows I'm thrown into the wind, and while you're gone I'm moving on. I'll begin again, right or wrong. You're wondering if I'll be standing strong. You have my word. I promise I'll be searching for a reason to go on.
Well, that wasn't a full video, but at least links to the full songs are in the description down below. At least something will live on. let's see what's on this Environ Cartridge. Are we gonna die in 7 days? Oh. Someone doesn't want us to see this. Well, since we have the lens filter, maybe we can see it with that on. And from here on, it's gonna be quite a big cutscene, so might want to pay attention.
Okay. This cartridge is the final piece you'll need to build a time machine. You should also have the Da Vinci Codex, which contains various formulae, the sculpture which morphs into a schematic diagram, and the medieval sword which holds the energy focusing element. This cartridge contains all existing notes, plans, and diagrams on the construction of the neutrino matrix accelerator, the time machine's power source. You'll be able to recreate the accelerator from these notes. By using the formulae, schematics, and focusing element to control the accelerator and harness its power, you'll be able to turn it into a functioning time machine. The information on this cartridge has been arranged in chronological order, starting with the building of the accelerator's framework, and following the process of its construction through to the final product. Good luck. And may
Sorry to interrupt, Gage, but I need that back.
Good, you're awake. Don't bother trying to move, your suit's disabled. I've got you hooked up to the jumpsuit maintenance frame. Well, it took me a while, but I finally figured out how you did it. I remembered that Agent 8 told me that when you broke house arrest, he found you back in your old apartment, without your suit. So that was the Gage that I know. And he jumped back into the past to enlist your help. Because he knew that he was being watched. You certainly are resourceful, aren't you? I didn't even know that that was possible. Just when I thought I had you under my control, you go and pull something like this on me. While you were unconscious, I looked at your evidence biochip. That's some pretty incriminating stuff. Looks like I've got no choice. I'm gonna have to erase it and, mind wipe you. Well, at least you won't remember how painful it was. In fact, when you wake up back in your apartment in the year 2319, you won't remember that any of this ever happened. Or, will happen, I guess. Well, first, I've got to send back the Environ cart that you stole from me.
Stole? What are you talking about?
Well, despite your best efforts, humans are no longer the only beings capable of time travel. It's for the better, Gage, believe me. We just can't be trusted with such a powerful tool. Human nature would eventually drive us to use it for the wrong reasons. And if we're not the only ones with the technology, maybe we won't be as tempted to misuse it. My contact promised me that it would be given to every race of the symbiotree that wants it.
That doesn't sound like a good thing.
Uh-oh, Gage, this doesn't look good. The jump controls are locked out and she's got you completely immobilized. While you were taking a commercial break, she hooked us up to this thing. She's been downloading stuff from your biochips ever since. She hasn't discovered me yet, but I'm afraid it's just a matter of time. I keep trying to sneak a peek down the data stream, but I'm afraid I'm gonna stand out like a rat in a garden hose. Hey, that was pretty good. Anyway, I'll keep trying.
You probably think that I'm ill, that I'm insane. I really can't blame you. I mean, no one from our generation has ever seen how aggressive we can really be. Or the generation before us, for that matter. Or the ones before that. But every single one of my historical research missions involved studying war. I've been to the Nazi death camps and Hiroshima. I've seen the terrorist massacres. I've lived it. I know. You can't possibly imagine the horror of seeing a bustling city of thousands vaporized by a nuclear firestorm, or a crowd of people shredded into bloody ribbons by a single shrapnel as you watch, helpless. But that's what happens when we feel the need to bare our teeth. It's human nature. And it's not something that just a couple of 100 years can erase. Look around you. Do you know what this place is? It's a missile silo. Well, a few centuries ago, there were tens of thousands of these, and each one contained a nuclear missile powerful enough to obliterate an entire sector. That's enough to destroy the world 50 times over. Yet just 3 centuries later, even before the physical reminders are gone, we're claiming that we've matured into a peaceful race of beings. How can we be that naive?
That's it. She just hooked up the pipeline I needed. I'm gonna swim up and see if I can stop her.
You probably figured out that I was the one that rigged the security grid. I had to be able to get the things I needed from the Pegasus warehouse without being seen. But when you started asking around about the mistake in the grid, well, I mean the future you, that is, I had to change my plans. So, instead of just sending the information to my contact, I came up with the idea of hiding it in historical artifacts. Artifacts from your research dates that were also slated for sale at the Louvre art auction. That way, all I had to do was tell my contact which items to buy, and the transaction was nearly impossible to trace. And if anyone started digging around because of what they saw, well, they'd discover the ripples and come straight back to you. I even found some valuable trinkets to plant in your locker if that happened. Just that one simple move would give you a motive, and the court a scapegoat. But, I didn't want to have to do it. I never thought for a second that someone might accidentally discover the ripples. I mean, how often do we do manual scans? Someone must have been bored out of their minds that day. I'm sorry, Gage. I really am. If I could be the one that was arrested, if I could take responsibility for my actions, I would in a second, believe me. I had no choice. I don't want to do this to you, but if I don't, it will all have been for nothing. If they find out how the technology was spread, they'll be able to keep it from ever happening. That's the problem with time travel. Nothing's ever safe. That's why I had to do it. I had to even the playing field, even a little. I'm sorry if I'm making you an unwilling martyr to my cause, but that's just the way it's gotta be. Please understand. Why am I even bothering with this? You're not gonna remember any of this anyway.
Oh right, she has the excuse to monologue because she's gonna wipe our memory anyway.
Gage, I'm there! It's all hooked up, everything! It's all controlled through the neural link into her suit. I can create a virus and shut the whole thing down. I just need to get into... Oh, no. There's a password, Gage. I need a password. What do you know about Michelle? I'm setting up an interface link for you. I need a password or we've both got instant Alzheimer's. See what you can dig up. Hurry!
Okay, now we are on a time limit. And
we're running out of options here. I need that password now.
And there is a death, so let's play a little game here. while I'm waiting for the timer to run out, see how many references you can spot when I put in all the wrong passwords I can think of. Because, like, if Arthur can rattle off shout-outs, so can I.
Think of something, anything. Pets, hobbies, power tools, types of cheeses, something personal. She's past the last safety lockout gauge. Don't get me in there now, our minds might not be the only things erased. History could be in for a serious rewrite. We're the only ones, Gage. We've got to do it. Now.
That's it. Get ready to have your memory erased. This is gonna hurt you more than it hurts me.
Having interrupted Agent 3's scheme by taking the most integral piece of the time machine plans, Agent 5 unintentionally drew her directly to him. He was captured by Agent 3, who then completed her mission and erased his memory to prevent further interference. Wow, the background looks like the space screen for the title. Okay, so the trick is that this is what the files viochip is for. Arthur said there's something
running out of options here. I need that password now.
So yeah, this is the serial number that was on her shoe, but it has to be something personal.
Think of something, anything. Pets, hobbies, power tools, types of cheeses, something personal.
She took intercollegiate grab ball. Her interests are grab ball, and she mentioned grab ball in the answering machine message, so...
That's it! We're in! Only there's one thing I didn't tell you, Gage. You're gonna have to do the rest without me. I'm the virus. Thanks for the adventure.
Wait, what?
I'll see you on the other side.
What's going on? What did you do? What did you do?
No! That's it then. Arthur gave himself up to save us. Just like our future self did. And I'm guessing he couldn't copy himself because that would have required his core. Whatever that did knocked out the power too. This is the burned out core of a cold fusion generator. It's emitting non-lethal amounts of gamma radiation. Warning, the generator core will interfere with transport beams if not stored in your inventory. While we have this, well, here's a working one. While we have this music, let's take a moment to think about this. I can't really be mad at Michelle, because, like, the TSA had her research all of these depressing moments in time, and I agree with O'Reilly. That's gotta mess somebody up, no matter who gets sent to this. Damn it, Baldwin! This is why your agents need medical benefits. This is all your fault, Jack. I also agree that she and Elliot Sinclair weren't really villains because they were doing all of this out of fear and proves all that talk about how humans becoming peaceful in the 21st century was a whole lot of bull. But something doesn't add up. We know that she was tampering these artifacts for someone, and it was meant for the symbiotree and every race that wants it, but if all of those pieces were meant for time travel to build a time machine, then I don't know, I don't like the sound of that. Huh. I thought this was a copy of the plans from Chateau Gard, but now I think it's something else. This looks interesting. So this is how Michelle was making all those things to get through the time periods, and we had to do things the hard way. It was a glass pyramid, and there were replicated glass fragments. And there was a heart, and that would lead to synthetic blood. And lastly, this is something new. Well, I told you I skipped something in the INN because of all that extra lore, but now that that part's in the past now, I think it's time we checked it again. And keep this in mind, sight, Klegman radiation, and voice 11 kilohertz! That's what stimulated Arthur's sculpture! So look out for those two terms.
INN will return after a word from our sponsor. La peinture fraîche.
Jote Latzande. Sasta Gorst.
If you hadn't understood those important messages, you would have just wet paint. Screwed up your best suit.
The Flippity Van Van.
Driven off of a cliff.
Sheep meat.
Been poisoned.
Restaurant smoking in the lobby.
And peed your pants on a foreign planet. Yes, for all those reasons and more, there's the Omniglot DM dual mode translator biochip from Samco. Just pop the Omniglot DM into any standard biotech interface and voila! No more frustration, no more confusion. The Omniglot DM instantly translates the written and spoken forms of any known language. It does it all. The Omniglot DM translator biochip from Samco. Get it today.
Samco Translator Biochip available at Frugal's and other fine stores for a low price of $199.90 or order over ShopNet. Product order code 689-22378. That's 689-22378. Order now.
In a late-breaking update from the technology discussions, the Krynn ambassador Icarus moments ago stormed out of the talks, apparently frustrated with the lack of progress. The conflict began when the ambassador said, quote, "Even the Krynn can no longer deny the truth of the situation and that they don't understand how anyone could defend our right to keep such a hazardous technology." Until last week, Icarus maintained the Krynn's usual position, that each race should be allowed complete autonomy over its own technologies. But their attitude changed soon after Agent 5 was arrested. Since then, the Krynn ambassador has repeatedly tried to gain the support of all the other envoys in fighting for the abolishment of time travel. When this last plea once again met with resistance, Icarus launched into a tirade, exclaiming that if they had known better, they would not have voted to let such an obstinate and naive race as humanity into the symbiotree. He then abruptly departed. The talks will go on despite the Krynn withdrawal.
This is new.
The heads of ministry will continue to meet with symbiotree representatives today in the Assembly Hall of the United Ministry Complex.
So these are the three appeals these aliens have grouped themselves into. This time I'm actually going to look through them with a fine-tooth comb because one of them has to have those specs that were listed on the note.
Click on a highlighted word to access more information on that subject.
I'm not going to hang on the articles themselves, I'm just going to look at the profiles. Nope, not this one.
The opinion originally... The Darloon... The Darloon...
These ones seem like the equivalent of black market people. These reproduce by fragmentation.
The Dorloon.
So this one's sovereignty over its own technologies.
Despite
I looked at this
being
one
recently abandoned
earlier.
by the Krynn.
These ones can adhere to any surface regardless of gravity. Nitrous oxide atmosphere.
Despite being recently abandoned by the Krynn, two of the third viewpoint.
Someone had said these aliens are a lot like Eevee.
The third viewpoint. They were joined by the Krynn, like the others that share. They were joined.
Okay, and now to the Krynn, the one that was mentioned in the first article. Non-tool using race with no prehensile limbs. These ones live in water. Clegmar radiation, there it is. Occurs naturally on their homeworld. Creon. Vocal 11 kilohertz. I think we got a match. And their transport prefix is 272. But wait a minute. Something's not right here. Michelle was told that the technology would be given to every race that wants it, which means she's supporting the appeal for sharing. But the Krynn want to dismantle the time travel, and she's doing all this behind the TSA's back. So this means they're lying to her. The Krynn, they do want technology, but for themselves. And if the appeal for dismantling goes through, then this means the Krynn will be the only race in the universe left with time travel, which means they'll be able to do whatever they want with it. I have a bad feeling about that. She's got like her own shower unit in here, which I can't get a good look at. industrial matter transmitter. So here we have to use the number row. There's no buttons to push. Address represents a diplomatic orbital link. Enter proper alien prefix. Well, there's another death, so I have to show that off. I know another prefix for the Sorolans, which is 707. Prepare for molecular disintegration. Having entered the wrong alien prefix code, Agent 5 found himself surrounded by hungry aliens who had just placed an order for Kung Pao chicken. Although they never tried that dish before, they liked how it was crunchy on the outside and soft in the middle. So the correct code prefix is... So what this text basically means is that since the Symbiotes are meeting at the Hall of Ministry, there's a bunch of ships in orbit for each race, and this code only goes to one of them. So basically we're going to the Krynn spaceship. Oh, wait a minute, I just realized I missed something. Something can happen if you have the lens filter off. Ne sere malice. Yeah, see, if you don't have the filter on, then we literally can't see in here because these ships don't have visible light. It's only in their Klegmar radiation. Jumpsuit built-in light source ineffective. These little things count towards your research bonus on the final score. So that must be their language.
Transporter pod set for organic and inorganic matter.
Since Arthur's just gone, I'm just gonna leave this translate chip all the time.
Transporter pod set for inorganic matter only.
Oh, I wonder what that means. Agent 5 attempted to use a Krynn transporter without a complete understanding of their technology. The transporter was set for inorganic matter only, and his jumpsuit was transported off him. Exposure to the Krynn's aqueous environment was fatal. The next of kin had been notified. The left and right ones are inorganic. The back one is what's both. Oh, and check this out. Freight loader set to test mode. We can mess with this control panel. I think we're underwater, but we're not on a timer like in Amarax, because this is actually the last part of the game. I know, it's been a long stream. Oh, let's say hello then. Oh, that was a bad move. Captured and imprisoned on the Krynn ship. Unlikely he will return to Earth custody. Oh, there's some that way too. Well, I guess the only thing we can do is just stay cloaked. So I guess these tunnels work through peristaltic motion. They just squeeze to push the water along so that everyone moves in currents, basically. Ugh, this is creepy. There's the Environ Cartridge. Hey, the sword! That gives me an idea, and I think we got something that can get that thing out of there. If you use this explosive charge on the wrong pod, then you're kind of soft-locked and have to reload a save. Well, since these were purchased from the Louvre, I think they're safe to have. All we gotta do is get them back to the TSA and hopefully we'll be innocent then. The heck? Why would the Krynn need a cheese girl?
Cheese girl!
Purely for one last-minute joke. Oh yay, Arthur's sculpture. Yeesh, I hope this didn't get too wet. And finally, the puzzle box, and I assume it was packed separate because we took the cartridge out. Well, now that we have everything, we just gotta get back to the starting area. Well, we need to stop these people from getting to us, so... Hiya! We couldn't cloak there because... That's a good question. Why couldn't we have cloaked? Uh-oh.
Why are you here? I believe we... No. 5. So, did you find what you came for? Somehow I suspect you have. We have also found what we have searched for. You cannot imagine what the secrets you carry in that suit of yours mean to my race. A means to correct the handicap that has plagued us since our patrons lifted us from the waters so many centuries ago. A mixed blessing, to be taken from a universe over which you have achieved complete mastery, and shown another much greater, to be given the opportunity to build a bolder future, but with limbs lent us by races already there. For 15 generations, my race has been trying to catch up. You have brought us a tool with which to correct the evolutionary oversight which left us swimming when we should have been collecting stars with races who now call themselves our elders. We can learn much from that suit you're wearing. Transporting it off you will leave you without protection from our environment. It shames me that you will die.
Oh, no you don't. That was Ambassador Icarus, the one who stormed out of the talks. And it's clear, although kind of really rushed story-wise, is that he wants time travel so that his species has limbs so that they can, quote, collect stars, which I think is a euphemism for taking over the universe. And I bet he's pissed that we just took away his cybernetic limbs. So, since we just snagged all those time travel pieces, he was trying to use us as a backup plan to reverse engineer our jumpsuit instead. A good thing that failed. After all this
Transporter pod set for organic and inorganic matter.
Let's get out of here. The symbiotree supplied those limbs centuries earlier. Yep. Let's help save our future self once and for all.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. We, the jury, find Gage Blackwood innocent on all accounts.
The evidence you gathered was instrumental in affecting your future self's release. Repeated efforts to locate Agent 3 have been unsuccessful, as no signature from her involuntary time jump has been detected by chronolog scanners. After a lengthy investigation, Ambassador Icarus was found to have been acting without the approval of the Krynn government and was dismissed from duty. Nevertheless, the elder races of the symbiotree have resolved to keep the Krynn under close scrutiny. However, there's just one loose end remaining to be tied up.
Well, I have to say that even I'm impressed. I've been cleared of any wrongdoing, and the Krynn have been expelled from the symbiotree. Now there's just one thing left to do. You can't stay here, but sending you back with knowledge of the future will cause a temporal distortion wave. So that leaves us with only one option. Sorry, but...
Mind wipe initiated.
Whoa. Did you ever get the feeling of deja vu?
I almost got full score, I just missed a couple of research parts. Another 10 years before you can enjoy it. So yep, definitely a lot more people than the first game. This guy unfortunately passed away some time ago. This dude was responsible for that gas canister glitch. Hey, this font looks familiar. There he is. That wonderful voice. This guy only got one other role as Agent 5, and that was in Pegasus Prime. After that, they employed somebody else. And it seems Kenneth Farnstein was also, the actor behind Kenneth Farnstein was also Icarus as well. Geno Andrews as himself. Now, since there's no audio, I'm just going to go out on a speech here. I personally don't have any plans to stream Legacy of Time. Pros, the gameplay is easier, there's no deaths, interface is better. Cons, the story I just don't like. But enjoy this last teaser.
La 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 la! I can't hear you. I'm not listening.
If you hadn't infected my suit, we wouldn't be stranded here in this forsaken...
I object to the term infected. Some of my best friends are viruses. I prefer the term sublet.
Get the hell out of my suit, you annoying little bug.
That's Mr. Little Bug to you. And I would love to leave this rapidly ripening Robbie the Robot fat suit, Miss Au Natural, but it appears that we are stuck with each other. Besides, there's nothing stopping you from leaving my suit.
Actually, Arthur, that's not a bad idea.
What are you doing? You took me serious. You're not supposed to do that. You'll be unprotected. Don't drink the water!
Commander, I'm receiving a priority message from Frontier Outpost Helm.
On main screen.
The vessel has ignored all hailing attempts.
All electronic systems were disrupted when it arrived. Our station is beginning to drift. Any symbiometry ships within this sector, please assist.
Can we make it there in time?
No, sir, we're too far. Scanners indicate that there's a large vessel next to the outpost. Wait. Commander, I'm detecting a huge displacement wave emanating from the space around the vessel.
Oh, Lord. There must be thousands.
There are more ships appearing on the border.
All systems are shorting out. Energy levels are up. Escape!
Agent Blackwood. The decree was just handed down from the Earth-World Senate.
We can't just shut everything down. This is insanity. We have a responsibility to safeguard history, Commissioner.
That responsibility has been revoked. All time travel operation has been suspended. Gage, this comes from higher up.
What about Agent 3? She's still out there hiding in the stream. We already know what she's capable of. We can't shut down TSA with her at large.
The Agent 3 case has been closed. There's no evidence she's survived. We've scoured the time stream for a month and turned up nothing. She's gone, Gage.
She knows exactly how we coordinate pursuit missions. With her training, she could easily be avoiding detection. We're making a tragic mistake, Jack.
I have orders to deliver all jumpsuit cores to the World Senate. I will appeal there and fight this with all my influence. Until I settle this, I need you to uphold the suspension and take command of the TSA. Can I count on you, Gage?
Yes, sir. Not now!
I've pinpointed the rip. Origin Mediterranean 1262 BC. It's caused a... Gage, there's a temporal distortion wave heading towards the President. It's amplifying exponentially.
Agent 3, she's finally made her move now. The TSA is completely crippled. Will, you have to install a new core for my suit.
Commissioner Baldwin took all the cores. We don't have time to construct a new one.
There must be something. What about reactivating the Pegasus device?
That old time machine? Not a chance. It's been shelved for years. Gage, we're suspended. We don't have many options.
Forget the suspension, Will. That wave will rewrite history. There must be a way to stop it. You're hiding something from me. Damn it, Will. Tell me how to go back while there's still time.
There's one very dangerous possibility. Follow me. I'm not supposed to show this, even to you. But under the circumstances, well, here it is. The chameleon jumpsuit.
How long have you been keeping a secret from me?
I began working on the prototype about a year ago. It utilizes holotechnology, allowing an agent to assume any virtual disguise in its database. It was intended for your deep time research unit.
Someone performed a stream dive with it?
You'd be the first, but I suppose that's nothing new. Gage, if you go, Commissioner Baldwin may never grant you another command again, or worse.
Baldwin knows it's my job to preserve history, Will. He'll understand. If he doesn't, then I guess I'll be cellmates with Agent 3 when I get back.